Stop scrolling. There is a mind that doesn't beg to be seen. It arrives like gravity, silent, inevitable, and everything else adjusts. If you're here for comfort, leave. If you're here for command, listen. In the next minutes, I'll tear out 3 habits that keep you obedient, reacting, apologizing, and asking permission. By the end, your silence will speak louder than their noise, and your no will feel like law. Subscribe now if you want sovereignty, not motivation. Do it before the first lesson, so your future self doesn't owe your present one anything. And in the comments, write your decree in 1 line. My aim, arc. My sacrifice, blank. I'll pin the sharpest ones, the rest will be ignored. Ready? Power doesn't announce itself, it enters. Law 1. Wield clarity as a weapon. Clarity of purpose is not comfort, it is war. It is the steel edge of a mind that refuses confusion. Most people think clarity is serenity, vision boards, affirmations, and soft smiles under motivational quotes. Machiavelli would sneer. He knew the truth. A mind fixed on one aim collapses every lever others try to pull. Ask yourself this. Do you truly know what you're chasing, or have you merely copied your dreams from the herd, blind, noisy, directionless? Clarity of purpose isn't about calmness, it's about command. It's the fire that burns hesitation. The moment you decide your single aim, every distraction, manipulator, and false opportunity loses power over you, because when you know why you move, no one else can move you. Decide, then cut the noise. That's the entire game. Every wasted year begins with indecision. Every empire begins with one decree. This is what I will build. You drift. You answer compliments and threats with the same weak reflex, reaction, not direction. Your goals shift with your moods. One day you crave freedom, the next, applause. You chase 10 desires and catch none, and while you drift, others, colder, clearer, crueler, define your role for you. Pathetic. You have handed them the pen that writes your fate. Machiavelli warned, a prince who does not set his own terms is lost among shifting fortunes. Those who hesitate are ruled by those who decide. He wrote The Prince not as poetry, but as a survival manual, for minds forged in reality, not comfort. Life rewards necessity, not niceness. A ruler without a clear aim becomes a servant to circumstance. A man without purpose becomes property of the world. Your purpose is not a dream board or a pep talk. It is your constitution, your priorities, your non-negotiables, your allocation of time and energy. These are your state policies. A nation cannot exist without its founding document. You cannot exist without your written why. Purpose is structure. It is the law by which you govern yourself. Without it, you are a democracy of impulses, ruled by every passing thought, at work, at home, in society. The man with written purpose never asks, should I? He asks, does this serve my aim? If not, he cuts it. Fast, clean, ruthless. Here's your first act of statecraft. Write 1 sentence, your non-negotiable aim. No fluff, no poetry. Example, I will build a business that frees me and funds my family for life. Then, list 3 sacrifices you will make to protect it. Sleep, comfort, distraction. Write them down. They are the taxes of ambition. For 30 days, refuse every request that conflicts with that aim. Friends, meetings, invitations, temptations, decline them all. Let the world feel your absence. Each night, write 3 lines. What decision you made, why it served your aim, what you cut. This is not self-help, this is sovereignty training. Every no you say builds a wall around your empire. Every refusal carves your borders into reality. Every act of clarity expands your control. Over yourself first, and then over everything within reach. Because once you master your inner order, the outer world bends to it. Those who cannot command themselves cannot command others. But the man who rules his own time, his focus, his aim, he soon rules his environment. If your life has one spine, others cannot bend it. That is the secret. Clarity is not light, it is armor. Once you wear it, the world can push, pull, tempt, or threaten. But you will not move, because you finally know where you stand, and that makes you dangerous, unshakable, unowned.
Hey guys, we're Wisdom, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoyed today's content.
Law. 2. Starve the world of your pulse. Emotion is currency. Spend none in public. Every time you react, you pay someone. Every time you flinch, you train them how to control you. Most people think emotion makes them authentic. Machiavelli would spit at that. It's not authenticity. It's weakness dressed as virtue. Spend silence, not anger. That's how power speaks. That's how power wins. You flinch. Praise tips you. A joke cracks you. A rumor rattles you. You let the world draw your map. And now they know where to press. Every smile, every sigh, every twitch becomes someone else's instruction manual for manipulating you. You have given them your emotional spine, and they bend it at will. Pathetic. You are not a person. You are a button, and anyone who presses it can make you dance. Machiavelli warned, a ruler builds power only on what he can control. Men are fickle. Fortune shifts, but one thing endures, the fear of punishment, the mystery of restraint. Control the one domain no one can take from you, your reaction. When a ruler reacts publicly, he shows his pulse. When he doesn't, he becomes unreadable. And what cannot be read, cannot be ruled. In modern life, emotion is signal. Every signal invites interpretation, and every interpretation gives them a map of your weaknesses. But if you signal nothing, they must infer. And what they infer, 9 times out of 10, is caution. At work, in relationships, in negotiations. The man who never flinches becomes the one everyone second guesses, because mystery breeds respect faster than charm ever will. Charm invites familiarity. Mystery forces reverence. Here's how you build that control. Create laws for yourself. Public and private. Any strong emotion is private unless it advances your strategy. You may rage, you may cry, you may burn inside, but never on stage. In public, you remain the still surface no one can read. In private, you drain the poison. For provocation, learn the 3 royal responses: silence and a slow nod. Noted. I'll consider. Use them like armor. They buy you time. They buy you mystery. They buy you power. Practice the 10-second pause before every charged reply. Count slowly. Breathe once. Watch how silence turns the battlefield. The one who speaks first loses position. The one who waits commands it. And build a private channel to release what you contain. Journal it, lift it, run it out. Control does not mean suppression. It means direction. You don't bury fire, you forge with it. When your face reveals nothing, their control dies. That is the art. Emotion is energy. Undirected, it's weakness. Directed, it's domination. Hold your fire. Let them guess, because the moment they can't read you, they start fearing you. And fear is the first step to obedience. Master your pulse, and you master their perception. Master their perception, and you master them. Law 3. See without speaking. Power is information, and the sharpest weapon isn't a sword, it's observation. Before you can move anyone, you must know where they'll break. Most people wait until conflict to study character. The strategist studies it in silence long before the battle begins. See without speaking. That's the rule. That's how predators hunt in peace. You argue, you react, you take words at face value and confuse charisma for competence. You watch the performance and miss the fracture behind it. Every time you respond to what's said, you blind yourself to what's shown. Fools listen to noise. Princes read patterns. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He praised rulers who could judge men not by their titles, but by their tells. He wrote of princes who survived not through force, but through insight. Those who read motives in a glance, lies in a compliment, fear in hesitation. Men reveal themselves most clearly under pressure. So the wise ruler doesn't just watch when things are calm, he watches when things crack. In the modern world, people leak power constantly. They tell you their weakness every day. Not through confession, but through repetition. The words they overuse, the topics they avoid, the people they defend. Each one is a breadcrumb leading straight to control. Your job is to collect those crumbs, silently, without reaction, without moral judgment, just data. Follow the 3-tell rule. Every person exposes themselves in threes. 3 phrases they repeat, 3 topics they avoid, 3 moments they grow defensive. Write them down. They're your blueprint. Keep a private dossier for every key player in your world. 1 paragraph is enough. Note their hope, their fear, and the resource they guard most. Money, status, approval, control. That's their lever. That's where you press. When you meet anyone, listen 70% of the time. Ask one open question that forces a choice. Not a story, but a reveal. Then stay silent. Silence is truth serum. Most people will fill it just to feel safe. And when they do, you'll see it. The tremor in tone, the slight pause, the nervous smile. That's the fracture. That's where the power hides. Do not strike immediately. Patience multiplies impact. Knowledge unused is potential energy, and potential terrifies. Wait for the moment when your understanding yields maximum return. When you finally speak, it won't be loud. It will be lethal. When you know what breaks them, you no longer need to wield a knife. The room does it for you. That is real power. The loud man attacks. The wise man observes, because what you can see, you can own. Law 4. Remove guilt as a decision mechanism. He who kills guilt kills manipulation. Guilt is a manufactured leash. It's how society keeps you obedient while pretending it's for your good. Every time you apologize for wanting more, you tighten the collar. Every time you let guilt steer a decision, you hand your power to someone else. Machiavelli would say, strategy does not bow to guilt, because guilt is rarely about right or wrong. It's about control. Test the guilt, then override it. You feel guilty for saying no to a friend who always asks for help, even though they never show up for you. You feel guilty for leaving a job that's draining you, because your boss says you're letting the team down. You even feel guilty for resting, because someone convinced you that rest is laziness. That's not conscience. That's programming, and it's profitable for everyone who benefits from your compliance. Machiavelli separated morality from effectiveness. He wrote that rulers who tried to be entirely good were destroyed by those who weren't. So he advised them to act with necessity, not with guilt. A ruler who hesitates to make a harsh decision loses the throne. A worker who hesitates to say no loses his time. A parent who hesitates to set boundaries loses respect. When guilt appears, name it. Say it out loud. This is guilt about success, or this is guilt about boundaries. That sentence alone breaks its spell. Then, run the Machiavellian audit. Who benefits if I obey this guilt? Who loses if I don't? If guilt serves no strategy, you cut it. Your manager dumps extra work on you because you're the only one who can handle it. You feel guilty for refusing. But ask the audit. Who benefits if I comply? The manager. Who loses if I don't? No one. They'll find another solution. So you look them in the eye and say, no. No explanation, no apology. Just a boundary drawn in steel. Or at home. A relative guilts you for missing a family event while you're building your business. They say, you've changed. You smile. Yes, that's the point. You don't owe guilt for growth. And if you ever worry the world will crumble when you say no, test it. Practice disappointing people who drain you. Cancel that unnecessary call. Decline that favor. Walk away from the argument you can't win. Watch what happens. Nothing. Only peace. And proof that guilt was never truth. Stop living on other people's conscience. Live on your strategy. Because the man who sheds guilt stops needing permission. He stops being managed. He starts being followed. Once you kill guilt, you don't just remove a leash, you remove the hands that held it. Law. 5. Self-containment. I am already alone. He who masters solitude cannot be manipulated by belonging. Autonomy is deterrent. Need is leverage for others. Independence is armor. The moment you need approval, attention, or company, you become predictable. And predictable men are easy to control. Own your solitude. You beg quietly for validation, from bosses, friends, lovers. You tolerate weight you should drop just to feel connected. You say yes to things that drain you because silence feels heavy, pathetic. You confuse attachment with loyalty and noise with significance. But Machiavelli would remind you, alliances built on need are alliances built on sand. He warned rulers never to trust the fickle support of others over their own capacity. A wise prince builds fortresses inside himself before he builds them in stone. Because when alliances shift, and they always do, only internal strength remains. Reputation without real capacity is a mask waiting to crack. Self-containment, in modern terms, is pre-commitment, a vow to never bargain your standards just to escape loneliness. You decide that solitude is not a curse, it's a fortress, and within that fortress, you become ungovernable. At work, when you stop needing your manager's constant praise, your judgment sharpens. You start performing from clarity, not anxiety. In relationships, when you no longer fear being alone, your no becomes a weapon. You stop clinging to people who offer you half-love and call it companionship. In business, when your finances are self-sustained, you can walk away from bad deals. Dependence disappears. Leverage appears. Take inventory. List 5 things no one can make you compromise on. Your time, your integrity, your health, your mission, those are your walls. Guard them as territory. Then run the solo test. 1 night a week, 1 weekend a month. No company, no posts, no updates. Sit with your own mind until silence stops feeling like absence and starts feeling like control. The weak flee solitude because it forces confrontation. The strong build kingdoms inside it. Test your friendships. Good companions add strength, not noise. Withhold small favors and see who remains. The loyal will respect you more. The users will vanish. Both results serve you. Build redundancy, financially and emotionally. Money stored buys freedom. Emotional stability buys patience. A man with buffers cannot be cornered. You'll know you've mastered self-containment when being alone feels the same as being surrounded. Steady, calm, in command. That's when isolation turns into sovereignty. When you need nothing, no one can hold you. That's the final stage of power. Because the man who fears isolation can be bribed with attention, but the one who says, I am already alone, cannot be moved. He doesn't chase belonging. He becomes the gravity others orbit. Law 6. Weaponize silence and observational dominance. He who controls the silence controls the story. Silence, used precisely, compresses the room into a confession. Most people rush to fill empty space, to explain, to justify, to prove they belong. But the Machiavellian understands. The one who speaks less learns more. Every pause is pressure. Every quiet moment is leverage. Use the quiet like a vice. You talk too soon. You rush to answer accusations. You fill pauses to look confident when silence would have made you powerful. You let others set the tempo, and by doing so, you surrender the frame. Pathetic. You trade mystery for noise. You give away power because you can't stand your own stillness. Machiavelli's rulers knew the art of silence and spectacle. Cesare Borgia once executed his cruel minister Deorco and displayed his body publicly, then said nothing. The silence spoke for him. It rewrote the narrative, redirected blame, and doubled his authority. Sometimes, the most commanding move is not to act, but to let others expose themselves trying to guess what you'll do next. In the modern world, silence forces projection. People can't stand not knowing what you think. They start filling in the blanks with fear, respect, or admiration, and the meaning they give you becomes your power. At work, when your colleague throws an accusation, don't defend. Look at them, pause, and simply say, "I'll note that." Then walk away. In relationships, when someone tries to provoke you, don't bite. Let the silence hang heavy. Watch how quickly they soften or over-explain. In negotiations, the longer you stay quiet after they name their price, the faster they start lowering it. In leadership, when you don't rush to speak, people assume you're thinking deeply. When you finally do, they listen twice as hard. Start with the still stare. In conversation, pause and hold eye contact for 4 to 8 seconds before speaking. It feels unbearable at first. That's the point. The tension you feel is the power they feel leaving them. Follow the rule of 3. For every question asked, pause 3 beats before answering once. The pause makes your words sound deliberate, calculated, final. Master the silence trap. When accused or attacked, say one calm phrase, "I'll note that," or "understood," then exit the frame. You leave them fighting shadows while you keep your posture intact. And use pattern breaks strategically. Delay your replies. Go cold for a day. Replace praise with silence or subtle correction. Make them guess where they stand. Uncertainty keeps attention hooked, and hooked attention is influence. Silence is not absence, it's extraction. In the void you create, others reveal themselves, their fears, motives, and insecurities. And you remain unreadable, untouchable, in control. Silence is not absence, it's extraction. Because in a world that screams to be heard, the man who can stay quiet owns every sound in the room. Law 7. Surgical enforcement, memory as ledger, and cold mercy. He who remembers quietly rules loudly. Remember like a ledger, enforce like law. Every consequence you deliver is a broadcast of who you are, not to the offender, but to everyone watching. Machiavelli taught that rulers should never be unnecessarily cruel, but when cruelty is required, it must be decisive, clean, and final. The same law governs you. Ledger first, mercy later. You forgive too fast. You explain too much. You warn the same people who've already shown you their intentions. You call it compassion. They call it weakness. And so the pattern repeats. Betrayal, apology, repetition. Every time you excuse it, you train others to test you again. Machiavelli observed that successful rulers never punished out of emotion. They punished with precision. Cesare Borgia did not rage. He recorded. He used consequence as a tool of order, not revenge. He once removed a disloyal minister, not with fury, but with finality. The execution was public. The reason, unspoken. And that silence built his legend. In modern life, you don't execute, but you must enforce. Your reputation depends on it. Forgiveness without boundary is permission. Mercy without record is amnesia. Keep a betrayal ledger. Every time someone violates trust, write it down. Date, act, consequence applied. This is not pettiness, it is policy, because memory fades and power weakens with forgetfulness. Then follow your consequence protocol. First breach, removal of privilege. Less access, less response, less warmth. Second breach, permanent distance. No drama, no explosion, just quiet deletion. Never explain the consequence. Explanation weakens the impact. Let social ambiguity do the work for you. When people don't know why you pulled away, they fill the silence with guilt and speculation, both heavier than any speech. And when you choose to let someone live, do it with precision. Say only, "We're fine." That phrase is both mercy and verdict. It tells them the debt is settled, but the record remains. At work, when a colleague undercuts you, don't argue. Document it. Next project, exclude them. When they notice, say, "The structure changed." In relationships, when someone repeatedly disrespects a boundary, stop warning. Withdraw access. No speeches. Let absence speak. In business, when a partner delays payments or cuts corners, don't scold. End the deal. Quietly. The absence of reaction is the sharpest blade, and when you forgive, do it without ceremony. No, "We need to talk." No emotional autopsy, just a calm return to order, minus the offender's former privileges. The cold who forgives without ceremony is deadlier than the loud avenger, because rage burns quick and fades. But silence lingers. When you remember everything and reveal nothing, people stop gambling with your patience. That is surgical enforcement. No noise, no revenge speeches, just a ruler's calm ledger and a reputation that whispers, "He forgets nothing." You were taught to negotiate for permission, to ask before you act, to soften your power so others would stay comfortable. But Machiavelli taught the opposite. Remove the need for permission. The ruthless mind is not monstrous, it is economical. It wastes no energy on the audience it will not keep. It doesn't chase validation, it enforces vision. Such a mind sharpens clarity until every decision cuts. It silences reaction until every pause commands. It records every slight like a ledger and acts with the precision of a state. This is not aggression, this is architecture. You are building internal order so exact that chaos bends around it. So build it, test it, use it. And when you do, you'll notice something strange. The noise around you fades, the posturing stops, and the room grows still, because the only thing people fear more than your cruelty is your indifference. The cruel man can be reasoned with, the indifferent one cannot. He needs nothing, explains nothing, apologizes for nothing. He simply acts. That is the final form of control, not dominance through force, but the quiet inevitability of one who no longer seeks permission to exist.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the resources and the original books we used today. We'll see you in the next one.